Hey, what's going on? We are Pull the Plug Podcast with myself, Mrs. Godzilla.
And me, Justin G.
Myself, Justin Briner.
And me, Sarah M.
Pull the Plug Podcast, it's a place where music fans, pop culture nerds, and people who love dick jokes come together each week.
A place of worship, if you will.
Check us out at ptppodcast.com for all your dick needs.
I'm Sam.
I'm Ton.
And I'm Brad.
And this is Wicca Wicca Disney Homies, but you might know us as Disney Dummies. You hear that, crew? We knocked that intro out of the park.
You did really well.
Almost as far as a lamp into the desert far, far away. Foreshadowing. Welcome, listeners. Thank you for tuning into Disney Homies, a division of Disney Dummies.
A division?
Where we listen to. We make our way through Disney, Pixar, animated features, shorts, and now home video releases, because we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
That sounded like we just listened or watched Disney and Pixar animated shorts and not the actual movies.
Features, shorts, we do it all.
Yeah, okay.
And you might say that Disney Homies were really scraping the cream of the crop of the bottom of the barrel, because we're only picking the home video releases that we really want to watch. And you've heard us cover, for all intents and purposes, what we're calling Belle's Enchanted Christmas. You've heard us cover the Lion King sequels. And now we're diving into Agrabah. That's right. We are returning to the world of Aladdin, Jasmine, Abu, Jafar, the Sultan, who am I missing? Iago, the big tiger.
Raja.
And
returning to Jafar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the genie. In the first Aladdin sequel, The Return of Jafar, also known as Aladdin, The Return of Jafar.
The Return of Jafar.
Jafar. Your beard. It's so twisted. Yeah. Anyways, this one picks up where the last movie left off. But why don't we pick up where you guys left off before we watched the movie by sharing nostalgia? Sam, I'm looking at you. What have you got to say about your feelings pre-rewatch?
Pre-rewatch. Okay, well, I didn't have this on DVD, but I did watch it a lot as a kid, I think.
On VHS?
Yes, okay. I think I had it on VHS. Yeah. So I feel like that's why I watched it a lot. It didn't come back to me like the other ones necessarily. Like, I was much more spotty on this one. But, like, there's, like, color palettes and, like some scene things, like some big things that, like, popped out in my memories. But it wasn't like a very comprehensive memory, if that makes sense. It was like, I know I've been here before, but like I don't remember it really. But I do remember as a kid really liking it. I feel like I remember specifically because of the name. I just feel like as a kid I'd be like, Return of Jafar. Return of Jafar.
He's back.
Return of Jafar.
Maybe filed under Aladdin, Return of Jafar.
No, it was never. That's the thing. Never filed under that. Always just Return of Jafar. Never Aladdin, Return of Jafar.
Yeah.
So but I didn't really remember much of it. I feel like even like a few weeks ago or whatever, you guys alluded to the fact that the genie is Dan Castanella or whatever. I didn't remember that. Like, it's been a bajillion years since I've watched this, so it's like I remember liking it, but I was also like, however old, 10.
You don't notice,
yeah. And this was the first rewatch since I was a child.
Laura was like, "Hey, Genie sounds a little like Homer right now," and I'm like, "Well, good call."
Well,
I knew it wasn't Robin Williams, because it felt like a really big deal at the time that it wasn't Robin Williams.
Yes.
But I didn't know that it was. How do you say that? Castellaneta.
Castellaneta, yeah.
Castellaneta. Brad, do you have any memories of Jafar.
of the Return. Yeah, I think this movie and the Aladdin 3, The King of Thieves, I think those were probably my most watched direct-to-DVD sequels. Lion King 1.5 would be Lion King 3, third on the list. But I remember elements of this. I think I watched the third Aladdin more after having seen this one, because I know I remember one of them a lot, but watching this one, I was like, I don't remember a lot of these scenes necessarily. I remember like set pieces we'll get into kind of stuff. So there was a lot there, but I feel like I remember liking the third one more and rewatching that one more. But this one reminded me a lot of the TV show, the Aladdin TV show, which I did enjoy as a kid. So that was nice to bring back those memories. Yeah, that's pretty much my nostalgia. I was looking forward to watching these two.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll go on top of that because I
Please.
think I feel very similar to Brad. I owned Return of Jafar and King of Thieves on VHS. And I remember watching King of Thieves a lot more than Return of Jafar.
Yeah.
When we were watching this movie, like a lot of it was like almost watching it for the first time again. But I remember like the Iago stuff was like, oh yeah, he is part of, like he becomes part of the gang. Like, that was like something I just completely forgot happened. But as soon as it started happening, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I kind of liked these sequels. Cause I'm like, Iago is part of the gang now. And then I didn't really remember much about it except for the very, very end, like the climactic battle with like the lava and stuff like that. I remember that imagery and that's about it.
I feel like I remembered everything about the movie, like set piece wise, except for things to do with Aladdin and Jasmine. All of that, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But everything around them, I was like, oh yeah, Iago's stuff, like the bad guys stuff, Jafar's stuff, like everything else I remembered, and then everything with Aladdin, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this happened.
Aladdin and Jasmine are, for all intents and purposes, tangential to the story in this movie. So that's
This is really like a Iago movie.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
I also think, which you'll get to in the summary, Samantha, but when Iago, when they get betrayed and those like horses come in on the wings, I feel like that imagery is burned into my mind in like a spooky way when I was a kid.
Spooky.
Yeah, because like that stuff, I was like, ooh, this is like bringing back memories that I'd really buried back when I was a kid.
I think it's also like Jafar, the writers, like they don't have pupils, their eyes are just blank.
They're just like
And
glowing eyes.
that's really scary imagery.
It's very like Headless Horseman to me in a way, and that movie literally gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Yeah, that one gave
I
me
remember.
nightmares for
It was
other
terrifying.
reasons. Just 'cause it
Ichabod
was-
Crane or
Yes.
whatever.
Sleepy Hollow.
That's it.
And
There's an
Mr.
episode
Toad.
of Disney Dummies for people to go
Totally.
listen to.
Yeah. And for me, like if you asked me beforehand, I'd be like, oh yeah, Return of Jafar, amazing movie. Watched it all the time as a kid. And on rewatch, I did not remember anything. Like the lava scene, I was like, this feels like Star Wars. Like, I don't know. It was reminding me of other stuff. So I guess I didn't watch it that many times. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a period of time where a Disney movie or home video would come out like on my brother's birthday every year. And so it was always, he would always get those movies and it was like a gift for all of us. Anyways, why don't we get into a little bit of summary of this juicy material, Sam? What would you like to share with us?
Sure. I'll start out with, and this must have happened in a Disney episode before, surely, but it does open with one of those. This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. And I was like, oh, like I couldn't remember, but I was like,
That's
does the
happened before.
OG, well, I know it's happened before, but from Aladdin, like, is the OG Aladdin have one of these?
I think it does, yeah.
Oh, it does? Oh,
If
I
I
don't
remember
remember.
correctly.
Someone
Because
go
as soon
back
as it
and listen
popped
to an
up,
old
I was
episode.
like, oh, who is? And then I was like, oh, well, it's got to be like, I feel like the depiction of like the people of Agrabah and like the bad guys and
A
stuff,
lot of
which I was like
stereotypes.
similar in Aladdin. So I feel I was like, it must be in both for the stereotype stuff. But anyway, so we open with that, and then we open with kind of a like very similar, same song, Arabian Nights riff or whatever.
Yeah, it's like exactly the same.
Yeah, they're in the desert. It's dark. It's
Very
sandy.
similar.
There is a Did You Know I'll have about that later. But
Okay.
yeah, it is Arabian Nights.
I mean, yeah, so it's the same thing, essentially, but we're not following Jafar now, obviously, he's gone, but we're following this other, like, band of
Never coming
thieves
back.
led by, oh, what's his name?
Abysmal.
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 Oh my gosh, I didn't make that connection until right now.
Abysmal.
Means
Abysmal.
bad in French. So
I did
wonder-
not make that connection either.
Jason Alexander.
You both didn't get that connection? Abysmal?
No, because I was thinking about French.
Holy shit, that's
I
hilarious.
was just like, Abysmal, that's his name. Wow, okay. Yeah, and he's voiced by Jason Alexander. So anyways, he's like,
Oh, it
Yeah.
wasn't
it was
Wayne
just,
Knight.
it sounded
Yeah.
like Wayne Knight.
I always
Yeah.
confuse their voices. That's so funny.
It wasn't Wayne Knight. It sounded so much
No.
like Wayne
I
Knight. Wow.
think of it as Jason Alexander.
I'm looking at the.
They're looking at the
IMDb
thing.
right
They're
now.
like they
Yeah.
have similar energy back in the day. So
Yeah.
A little bit. So yeah, he's a thief, and they're robbing stuff, and Aladdin comes in, ruins the party, steals what Abismal was trying to steal, and it's like this pretty flower, like this pretty jewel flower or whatever. And there's just kind of like a little mayhem with them at the beginning, and we're just setting up the scene here. And Aladdin takes off. They're like, damn you, Aladdin. And then we see, and I'm going to be explaining these things out of order, but this is the general order. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we get Jafar. His lamp has been chucked into the desert, if you all remember the first movie. If you don't, you should probably go listen to that episode first, maybe? I don't know. You do you. So Jafar's lamp is out in the desert, and Iago is not in the lamp and is like, finally free. And Jafar's like, free me or bring me wherever or wish me out. And basically Iago sings a song about
Oh, yeah.
being like, I'm out of here. And I was like, wow, the first song in this movie is just like Iago, and like
dude,
Iago.
we get 2 Iago songs.
It's definitely the Iago
That's
movie.
why I'm
Yes,
like,
maybe.
this is Iago's movie. He gets 2 songs, and which is fucking crazy, really. So he sings a song. I feel like that's what makes. I feel like this first song too. It's like this is very like straight to DVD sequel. Like this is what makes it feel like a straight to DVD sequel right away. Is Iago singing this like
Yeah.
kind of shitty song about like leaving Jafar? I'm like,
I'm
oh my
looking out
god,
for
okay.
me.
I'm looking out for me. Yeah,
Aren't we
sure.
all, Iago?
Yeah, so he's like, I'm looking out for me, and he basically says, see ya, Jafar, and ditches him. Like, he's like not gonna
Dumps
help
him in a
anymore.
well.
He's free. Yeah, dumps him in a well. Aladdin comes back, he brings Jasmine this flower, everything seems hunky-dory in Agrabah. And then he's like in the streets, and Iago's in town. And I don't know, Aladdin gets into some altercation with like guards or something, and Iago comes in, or no, the thieves show up in town, and they're like coming after like Aladdin. And Iago, I feel like somewhat like mistakenly just like happens to save Aladdin's life somehow, some way. And so Aladdin's like, oh, Iago, maybe you have changed because like you saved my life. And this is kind of like a very like big plot of the movie is just like Aladdin vouching for Iago now because he saved his life.
Like fully backing him.
Fully
Yeah.
fully like on board with this, and
It's a
is like,
life
listen,
debt.
I'm gonna put in a good word with you and everything. I'm gonna put you in this cage for a bit while I talk everyone into trusting you again, kind of thing. And so that's kind of what he sets off to do. He's like hiding the fact that Iago is around and that he likes him now. At some point, we get Genie returning. He sings a song about needing friends, which also feels very sequel-y
Oh,
for
yeah.
a song.
Nothing in the world quite like a friend.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
it,
like,
yeah.
man,
He's traveled the world now, so he can say that.
Yeah.
yeah, all he needed was friends all along, so he's back.
There is nothing in the world quite like a friend.
yeah, that
It's just
happened.
like the B version of Friend Like Me, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like he does like transform a ton still in this movie, which is, you know, that's what you want out of Genie, just like doing a lot of manic
Yeah.
shit. He does do that in the song, but the song obviously just doesn't slap as hard.
No.
So
Yeah.
How could it?
Yeah. So it's kind of, I feel like because of that, like a lot of these things feel kind of like anticlimactic because it's just like not as big as the first one was. I feel like where Lion King kind of like felt like they were still trying to feel big. This one, it's like you had a budget. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. You had a budget.
The budget shows for
This
sure.
was a budget. This was a budget. So anyways, yeah, we get budget version Friend Like Me. So he's back. We're all gonna have like dinner with the Sultan. And at the dinner with the Sultan is where they're all talking, and they just happen to all start talking about how much they hate Iago. So it like
Perfect
makes it
timing.
awkward for Aladdin because he's like, oh no, like Iago. And then I think Iago gets out of the
Abu
cage.
lets him
'cause-
free.
Abu lets him free, and like Raja chases Iago
Yeah.
into the area where they're all having dinner, and they're like, "What, Iago?" And Aladdin's like, "Oh no, he's cool now, guys," and they're all kind of pissed off that he's there, obviously, since he was like a right-hand man to the big bad in the first one. So they're all pissed.
But he says he was hypnotized by the staff.
Yeah,
Which he
Iago's whole
wasn't,
thing is
but
I
that's
was
what he says.
hypnotized, but sure, yeah. So that's what he's saying, what Iago's claiming. Anyways, they're all like, okay, Aladdin, fine, like we can give him a chance, but like if anything goes wrong, it's on you. And then Jasmine's like straight pissed because she's like, Jasmine's such a drama queen in this movie.
Yes.
She's like, you lied to me again. Like, and it was like, girl, like he was about to tell you guys, like.
He was
No.
very clearly
It's
trying to tell
okay.
you.
She will forgive him in the next song.
Yeah, well, she's
She always
pissed.
does.
And yeah, so she's pissed at him. And the next song is that the one where like Genie is like, Iago, you gotta fix this. And so they have like a wingman song.
Look, you're calling my bluff. I can't just forget about love.
Yeah.
And then it's like, love is all that. What's that
And then
song
Aladdin
called?
and Jasmine end on a duet within the same song. Is that
Yes.
it?
Yeah,
Yes.
That
yeah,
one's
they
Forget About
sing
Love.
Forget
Yeah.
About Love.
Yeah. Iago's just like, you don't need it. Forget about love. Who cares?
He's
And then
doing-
it becomes I can't.
But they
forget
can't
about love.
forget about
it was
love.
reverse psychology. That's what
Yeah.
Iago was doing. But yeah,
Played her like a fiddle.
I forget what the moment was, but it happens very quickly that Iago says something and Jasmine all of a sudden switches. He's like, you know what? I do like Aladdin. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am in love with
I
him.
love him. In fact, I'm going to make out with him.
Get it, girl.
I feel like this is some of the imagery I remember is just like them out in the yard, like having a lovey-dovey moment
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So like Iago's kind of getting in the good books, and Jasmine is also like, yeah, he's fine. I guess I misjudged you too. Everyone's like on the Iago train, but meanwhile, Abi Small,
Happy smile. Yes.
Small stumbles across the lamp. He finds the lamp. And we're just like, oh no. And then obviously rubs it, and Jafar comes out and is like, what the fuck? Abi Small, you gotta take me to Agrabah so I can like fuck up Aladdin and stuff. And of course, at first, Abi Small's trying to be all like, no, you're a genie, give me wishes. And he does the whole like giving him what he wants, but not really thing. Like, here's your treasure, but you're underwater. Psych. Oh, I'm freeing you. Now you only have one wish left.
That was a very
So, like-
Aladdin one type of wish,
Yeah.
you know? Oh,
Yeah.
the second wish was like, oh, you're drowning and you need to be saved.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay. They just need to
Very
get rid
much
of those
that.
wishes quick, and that's an effective way to do it, I
Yeah.
guess.
It is. Yeah. They got rid of them quick. So he only has one wish left, and he's like, listen, just take me. Because I guess the genie can't go to, like, he has to kind of be around the lamp. So he's like, you need to take the lamp there so, like, I can get there, kind of thing. So, and he's like, if you don't do this, I'm basically just going to kill you. So he's like, okay. So he'll take him to Agrabah, where eventually, when they get there, Jafar finds Iago and is like, oh, good, you've made buddies with them. This is going to make my whole plan to get back at Aladdin and the Sultan and shit so much easier because I've got a man on the inside, basically. Name is Hercules Mulligan. It's Iago. So Iago's a little conflicted at this point. He like actually doesn't want to betray them, I don't think, but also like Jafar will obviously kill him, and Iago's still a little bitch at the heart of it. So he's like, okay, Jafar, I guess I'll help you. He like plants this seed. The whole thing is like, oh, Aladdin. Oh, sorry, subplot. Aladdin's gonna become
Vizier.
the
Royal
vizier, the royal
The no-
vizier.
yeah,
That's
the
what
new-
Jafar
Magic
was in the
Grand
first
Vizier.
That's what Jafar
Yeah.
was.
He's the new
Yeah.
Jafar.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be the royal vizier.
No sense.
So he was like, you know, if you're gonna be the royal vizier, you should go like spend some one-on-one time with the Sultan. And so Iago like tells him that, and he's like, that's such a good idea. Yeah. Jasmine's also like, yeah, it's such a good idea. So Aladdin and the Sultan
Oh,
fuck off
Iago,
and leave.
you're so helpful.
Yeah, Aladdin and the Sultan go on a little journey, a magic carpet ride away. And everyone else is left at the castle, and basically Jafar comes in and like fucks them all up, and then goes after Aladdin and the Sultan. I mean, fucks them up too. They're you know, they get accosted by the horsemen with Abismal. There's like a lot of sorcery shit going on that captures them.
Yeah, there's like
kind of a weird introduction of magic into the Aladdin universe.
Well, magic's always been kind of around.
But it's been really limited to like genies and what did
It's true. They
Jafar
never
become?
summoned whole like armies of horses.
Yeah,
Flying horses.
Jafar have
like
always had
they've
magic,
never
though.
they've never said the word magic before. I don't think.
I would say this scene gave me flying monkeys vibes.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz. It was
Yeah,
kind
the
of
like
strange.
horses have wings.
Yeah.
It is a lot because in the first ones, I mean, usually we've seen genies like transform and do things like that, and I feel like outside of that,
Jafar
transformation
does-
type
yeah.
spells. Yeah, like Jafar like banishes in the first one Aladdin to like the winter area or whatever. So that was like pretty big.
Yeah.
But like aside from that, we haven't seen them use their magic, I guess, to the full potential maybe. But now we're just like full on like summoning things. Anyways, Sultan's captured. Aladdin almost dies going over a waterfall, but they stop him from dying and bring him back to essentially be captured as well. So the Sultan and
Well, he's like framed for the Sultan's death, basically.
yes, they end up framing Aladdin for the Sultan's death. Jasmine and Genie and like all the gang is locked up in a tower. They're like handcuffed. Aladdin is in a separate cell. Jafar does this thing that he does now where he like transforms into other people to be all sneaky. So he like pretends to be Jasmine and goes in and is basically like, fuck you, Aladdin. You killed my dad. I hate you.
You lied again. You know I
and
hate
you lied
lying.
again. and runs away. And it's at that point I forgot that it was Jafar and I was like, man, Jasmine, you believe this right away? Why are you being such a little bitch already?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's Jafar. But I mean, at this point in the movie, it could have been Jasmine. I would have not been surprised. So anyways, it was not Jasmine, it was Jafar. And Aladdin's like, oh no. And so he's basically been sentenced to death for killing the Sultan. Jafar goes back and is like, hee, my plans. But ultimately, Iago has a change of heart because it is Iago's movie.
It is his movie.
Yeah.
He frees Genie first, or who does he free first? I don't know.
Genie.
But he frees Genie. They get the gang all out. So they show up at the last second before Aladdin's basically about to have his head chopped off.
Yeah,
to
Genie's
stop-
in that like creepy globe.
Crystal
Doesn't Jafar
ball
make him
thing,
like
yeah.
really
Yeah.
sad or something?
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
like, you're powerless, buddy. Oh yeah, that
He's
was his
trapped in a
song.
globe.
What was that one called?
Oh, he had a song.
Oh, yeah, he had a song.
Yeah.
Jafar had
Oh,
a
you're
song.
only second rate.
Pontificate upon your sorry state, you're only second rate.
Probably the best song in the movie.
Yes,
Which,
but I forget how it goes.
Yes, I
really
forget that it even existed, though. So
Yeah.
I remember
Which I was
listening
going
to
to say
being
is
like, it was-
saying something.
Yeah, I remember being like, "Oh, this song's okay," but like I
Yeah.
could not sing any of it
Because
just for the
Jafar
life of me.
didn't get a song in the first movie. Like he got a
he
reprise
got
of
a
Prince
reprise.
Ali, but he didn't
A
get his
dope
own
reprise.
Song.
Fucking
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, then he sings, yeah, you're only second rate, and the genie gets sad and ends up in a snow globe with a spider thing.
Yeah, they
around
do a
it,
little
and-
genie off a bit. So
Yeah.
but-
yeah, there's a song I forgot to mention, but that's when he's capturing all the gang. So yeah, but the gang's out now, so they're gonna help Aladdin. And now we're getting to the big like courtyard showdown because everyone's been freed and they need to destroy the lamp to destroy Jafar. Jafar makes like all these like lava craters in the courtyard, so there's a lot of lava
This
happening.
is a Star Wars bit.
Yeah, and they're all just kind of fighting for a bit.
And where's
I mean,
Abismal at this point? Like there was what happened to him?
They forgot to write him off.
Like
He just doesn't exist anymore.
Is that what happened? Because like there was a whole thing where like Jafar was giving Abismal like all these things. He's like, okay, here's all
Yeah, the
these
treasures
things.
and everything.
Here's all the treasures you want. Now do my thing. But
Yeah.
I don't remember how they resolved.
Because Abismal
him.
was supposed to set him free, but he just didn't.
just didn't.
So technically, Jafar still owes Abismal a wish.
Is he just still out there? They didn't.
But
They
they,
really
don't.
didn't
They
resolve
don't
him?
resolve that. No.
oh my
I
god,
don't actually
didn't-
remember.
Yeah, I
don't
don't
think
know
they
Watched it
either.
yesterday, so I can't remember either. Wow.
Okay. I don't remember.
Because in my
you're
head,
right.
I'm like, oh yeah, now we're in the courtyard. I'm like, but yeah, what happened to that other guy?
You're right, because he starts giving him all the treasure.
All the treasure.
We forgot about
And-
him like we forget about love. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have
Yeah,
to
I really don't
look into
remember.
it.
I think that's like the last time you see him.
Yeah.
He's literally just there to get Jafar to Agrabah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
sure,
gone. He's gone. He's not part of this big fight, I don't think.
No, he's not.
No. So it's just Jafar and the guys in the courtyard in the lava, and they're all fighting, and eventually Aladdin gets the lamp and chucks it into the lava to kill.
It's
To
the lava
kill.
Jafar made.
Yeah.
Iago did it, didn't he?
Oh,
Iago
sorry,
kicks
you're
it
right. You're
in,
right.
yeah. Iago
Because
kicks it.
Iago gets hit or hit. Yeah, there's like a classic like, oh my God, is Iago dead? He's such a hero and
Yeah.
he did all this for us. But then he like coughs and he's
Well,
okay. So
It was because like Iago saved everyone, and then Aladdin and the gang were like, okay, we're gonna stop Jafar. Iago's like, I'm not gonna stop Jafar. I've done enough. And they're like, yeah, man, you do you. You're good. And then
Yeah.
and Iago's like, fine, I'm better off alone. And then he comes in the last minute
Yeah.
to swoop
Right,
in and do the
right.
heroic thing
Save
and
the day.
and save the day.
and
so.
saves the
And
day
he
and then
does.
almost dies, but
almost
then
dies.
he's okay.
I have what happened to Abiz Mall. I just don't remember it.
What?
So I guess he gets thrown off of like a balcony, like a crumbling balcony, and ends up in a tree.
Oh,
like
yeah.
hanging,
And
like
then he's just
snagged
hanging there by his underwear.
Because that's
Yeah.
He has
and
the
it's leaving
above
him
the
dangling.
lamp. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably still
Yeah.
in that tree.
The lamp falls out of his grip, and the heroes chase after it, leaving Abysmal
just in the
still
tree.
vainly trying to free himself. And that's
That's got to
basically-
be a rough wedgie.
Hours after the battle, Abysmal is still dangling from the tree, apparently upset not only over the loss of Jafar and the lamp, but also the opportunity at his third wish, and that's basically.
That's it. Okay. No, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
I mean,
Now we know.
I
Sure.
don't remember that at all.
I
and
do
we
remember
watched
it now,
this.
but I'm like, it's not really an end because it's
No.
just so focused on everything else that's happening. So
Yeah.
okay, so that happens. So, yeah, Jafar's dead, and we're kind of just like at happily ever after point, I guess. Like, everyone's cool now, and we're all just, I feel like it kind of just ends. Like,
Except
they're all,
yeah,
Aladdin can't be the vizier.
he wants to see the world,
oh,
So-
right.
and
to see the
Jasmine
world.
also wants to see the world.
Right. They're
Yeah.
gonna go off see the world
And
together.
Iago, he's like, oh, I can't believe you want to see the world. And he gets the last line of the movie before it cuts to
Because
credits.
it's Iago's movie.
He's just like, it's like him complaining, being like, oh, you gotta be the vizier. Oh my God, I can't believe I partnered with a bunch of other suckers now. That's my life. Blah, blah, blah. Credits. And you're like, what?
Wow.
Hugh Gilbert
Okay.
Gottfried.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his whole thing is he wants to be near power.
He wants power.
Yeah. She just wants to have a relaxing life, I think. So a luxurious life
in
as
the
well.
lap of luxury.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
Sam.
That's the movie.
What a ride.
Wow, that's
Wow.
the shortest summary.
What a
we've
ride.
ever
Succinct.
done.
No.
Guys, I'm killing it. I
Yeah,
did
I'm
a really
loving it.
short one for Beauty and the Beast. I got a short one today.
The
I'm
world needs
nailing
more of
this
this.
new format. I
Mm-hmm.
know.
So, Tung, what were your thoughts on Return of Jafar after watching it again?
It was, I would say it feels very much like my memories of what the direct to VHS sequels were, like all of them. So like the best way to describe it is that like it just really, it feels so low budget. And
Yeah.
you can kind of see that. You can kind of see that in the animation. You can really see that in the animation. You can see it in the story. There's some moments where I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely Aladdin still. Like there's still like some Aladdin-y things that are happening for sure. But yeah, I thought it was just... It was whatever. I mean, like one of the first Diginos is this was the very first direct to VHS sequels for Disney, and it kind of shows. And
Sure, yeah.
and in that way, I throw it a bone because it's like they were trying something out, and in that way, it was kind of successful. They still told a story. But yeah, I think like one of my hot takes was like too much Iago, too much. I like the
It's a lot of
character.
Iago.
I like the character. I remember liking the character. I said it earlier in my nostalgia that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so glad that he's part of the gang now. But like in this movie, it's just so much of him and overusing him. The songs don't hit as well. You really do miss the Robin Williams genie. But I do think Dan Castellaneta like really does a pretty pretty darn good job at being Genie. He sounds like Robin Williams a lot of the times. He even throws in a few like Simpson-y like voices. Like there's a part where he transforms into a clown and it sounds like Krusty for a bit. But yeah, I think as a whole, it's kind of like, is kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, sure. Brad, what about you?
I did not remember how much Iago was in this movie. So that was kind of a surprise going back to it. I didn't like hate it. It's just, even though it was like, what, an hour 10, I think, it kind of felt like it dragged at times to me.
It did.
It felt like a two-parter of the TV show to me.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Which, if that's what it was, I would have been into it. But it was like a sequel to one of the best Disney movies, in my opinion, anyway. So I feel like that's a little underwhelming. But yeah, I didn't love Abiz Mal as a character. Didn't really do anything for me.
I like that they brought back most of the original voice cast for it. Like that helps a lot, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that was all cool. There wasn't a lot of carpet stuff. I don't know, like a lot of the things I liked from the first movie weren't really here in this movie. It was more like, I don't know, political intrigue, which every Star Wars proved. That's what kids want, is politics.
I just thought of something. I think we talked about this in the Lion King 2, which was like Lion King 2 felt like a true sequel. Like they're building off the ideas and characterizations and
another version of Hamlet or like Shakespeare kind of thing.
But it felt
building
like
upon it.
These characters are growing as the movie goes on, and this one is just like a little bit of a regression in the characters and a lot of like the greatest hits, but like the B version of that with like their B version of A Friend Like Me and their B version of like all these other songs too. And it doesn't feel like the gang really grew up from this like adventure that they just had, right? So
I feel like Lion King 2 felt like it could have been a theatrical sequel. Like we know them now. Like when we release sequels, we're like, oh look, Moana again. Like Moana was gonna be TV, but they put it on a movie. Like I think you could have done that to Lion King 2 because it was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like we could have maybe put this on the big screen. This was not that. Like, and it's, I didn't realize it was the first one they did. And yeah, you can tell, but yeah, exactly. This is what my memory goes to when it's like direct to DVD sequels. It's like, yeah, the quality's not going to be the same.
Oh yeah.
Like
looks weird.
And
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Which I just don't feel like we really hit as much on the previous ones we've done. Like this one definitely felt different.
Aladdin
where
and
I was
Jasmine's faces looked super like stretched out at times. Yeah. Very strange.
It felt, and I mean, I say this like, it felt for kids where it's like, you know what, kids aren't going to care. They just want to see these characters they like doing more stuff, which is probably why I was like, I like this as a kid. I just watched it and had a really good time versus the other sequels where we're kind of like, you know, as adults, I'm still like, having a good time watching this. Like it was still made with enough heart that it's like, it's not just for kids, where this one is like, this feels like for kids in the way that it's written. So it's like, not that it's bad, but it's just not for the masses. Parents at home aren't going to sit and watch this with you. They're going to put it on for you.
Yeah, exactly. And still make dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't nearly as good as I remembered. Even though I didn't really remember it, I remember liking it and watching it again as an adult. I'm like, oh, this just feels like a cartoon version of Aladdin or like a TV version.
Yeah, it does feel like the show.
Yeah. I didn't mind all the Iago. I thought it was actually kind of fun to shine the spotlight on him as opposed to like the genie is such a major character in the first one. And if they're not going to get Robin Williams, then it makes sense to maybe put the focus on someone else.
It's just too much of him. That was my thing. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Something about that bird.
He gets 2 songs.
Something about that bird I like.
Yeah, it's really Iago and the Return of Jafar.
Yeah,
that's
the Return of
totally
Iago.
That's totally it, for sure.
Yeah, they should have marketed it as that. But yeah, I mean, those were my overall thoughts. One other thing I'll say is that, yeah, Dan Castellaneta, I think like if we didn't have Robin Williams Genie, we would have been like, oh, this guy's great. Yeah, what a great performance. But because everyone's going to compare it to Robin Williams, it's never going to live up to it, right? So
imagine Robin Williams in this movie, though. He's too big and good for what this is.
Yeah.
But it would have made no sense.
Yeah.
Like, he could have brought
Too
energy
good.
to the song, sure, but like
But he comes
like
back.
The songs weren't
you know
good
what?
enough.
Maybe his improv would have helped, but like the writing for the genie to like everything about it is very just like second tier to
Yeah.
like what we had. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm sure. I mean, I feel like one of the main facts everyone knows about the first Aladdin is that there's just like hours and hours and hours and hours of footage of Robin Williams doing shit. So maybe you'd have that and it would like bring some life. But as far as like the writing in this movie, like we've said, like it's like regressions on characters. So like could Robin have saved this? Would it have been weird like having such a talented voice actor doing such shit? Like I'm sure he would have elevated it, but
Yeah.
if
We'll
no
never
one else
know.
elevated it except him, then that'd also be weird. Like he'd be too good for this movie.
We'll never know. But yeah, let's talk source material. So essentially, it's funny that you mentioned like it feels like a 2-part TV show, Brad, because I guess after The Little Mermaid, Disney made a television series of The Little Mermaid, and that was very popular. So a lot of studios were kind of taking the same approach of bringing like hit animated films to television. And the way they'd often do that is by producing like a 1-hour special to introduce audiences to the show and then doing the 20-minute episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the plan for this one.
They still do that with so much TV today.
There we go.
Like release
Yeah.
an hour episode movie and then do
Yeah.
a show.
Yeah. But for this one, I guess the creators were like, why don't we bring this to home video? And so that's how it became the first direct-to-home video release for Disney.
Oh my God. So it is just like Moana. They're like, we're not going to
Yes.
use this for TV.
But then they did make the TV show. It was just the first two. Yeah. And it was directed by, or at least produced by Tad Stones and Alan Zaslove. And while they were conceiving the sequel, Stones became basically obsessed with Iago. And yeah, that comes across.
There you go.
So that's kind of how he became the main subject or main character in the film. Was one of the producers was just like, yeah, I really like that guy. And they, I don't know, threw together a story. Couldn't tell you much about how they conceived it, but that's kind of how it went. And that's how we got Return of Jafar, aka Aladdin. Return of Jafar.
AKA Iago, Aladdin, Return of Jafar.
But Doug, I think you got some other
Yeah.
what did you guys come up with? What'd you come up with last episode?
Homie how you do's or something?
Homie, how you do's?
Homie, how you do?
I think Brad came up with that, which,
This is why I can't take bathroom breaks.
Yeah, that was on you, really.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
definitely on you. I have a few,
Drop
and
'em.
some will bleed into animation angles, so I won't say those ones in case Brad and Sam
You
end up
probably
saying it.
just should.
Unless
Brad has.
Brad might have some stuff. Yeah, I don't want to take away from this segment, but I'll chime in later with those ones. So yes, I said the Arabian Nights is the same song, but actually this one was the original version of what the first movie was supposed to be. Okay, so they had two different lyrics is what I'm trying to say. So Return of Jafar and Aladdin 1, same song, different lyrics, if you like kind of break it down. But
Interesting.
Return of Jafar had the original lyrics that were supposed to be in Aladdin 1. I won't say the differences.
That's so
It's
weird.
quite different, but it, at the end of the day, it sounds the same.
Yeah.
We all kind of know this, I think, and we might have brought this up in Aladdin 1, but I'll bring it up now, which was that Robin Williams had a big fallout with Disney after Aladdin 1, and the whole thing was merchandising. He didn't want his voice to be like merchandise with all these genie toys and all this other stuff, didn't want to sell out in that way. And it felt kind of gross. So Disney and Robin Williams were like fighting about it, but they eventually did make up for it, which is why we get Robin back for King of Thieves, which is Aladdin
Stay
3.
tuned.
Yeah. And I guess the last one was that it was rated lower than King of Thieves, which I think that just makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see when we watch it.
Yeah. And that's it for now for my
Alrighty.
how you do's.
Well, how you do? Thank you, Tongue. Brad, how you do? You got any animation angle for us, Brad or Sam?
Not Sam.
Sam.
No, not really. I mean, the main thing I found was, this was their first one. It was animated at Disney Australia and Japan, I think it was. So I don't know. I didn't look into it, but I guess this was before Disney Toons or whatever.
I guess
their
so. I guess it must have
studio
been.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what is it called? Walt Disney Television and Home Video, I think it's called at the beginning. I suspect that became Disney Toon.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe off the success of this, they were like, yeah, this is like a profitable thing, so they went into it. But no, I mean, we kind of covered most of the things I was kind of thinking about. I feel like I saw a pretty like healthy amount of reuse in the movie, from what I remember, of like reuse animation.
Yeah, his like gasp or like his like face on the carpet. I was like, oh, they took that from the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, which I mean, obviously they're gonna do
Yeah.
to save cost, and then they can put that effort elsewhere and plus other things. But I thought that was interesting because in like the other ones that we've watched so far, it didn't like stand out to me as much. But maybe there was a bigger contrast between the animation of like these other smaller studios and like the main Disney studio. But I do think the reuse stood out to me in this one. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I don't think it was poorly animated. It just obviously wasn't on the
They'd go off
actual movie.
model. I feel like
Yeah.
Jasmine, sometimes I was like, whoa, girl.
Yeah.
I-
That's kind of what I like.
Yeah, her eyes are like
Yeah,
drifting around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think of the ones we've watched so far, this probably is the lowest animation. It's still good.
I mean,
It's not bad. It's still Disney at the end of the day, but
Totally.
it's not like the level, and you can see it they grow into how to do these to home movies on a budget from this, because I mean it gets, as we talked about in Lion King, like
Yeah.
that was quite good. I feel
I-
like on Belle's Enchanted Christmas, as we call it,
Yeah.
we talked about like the line quality and like moving away from the thin and thick.
I think it's like kind of a testament almost as well, especially knowing what I do within the industry. Here, I'm going to go off for a minute. But like, I think it's a testament to just how difficult hand-drawn animation is and why we veered away from it to begin with. Because I think, you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, Disney's the best and this and that. But like, they were doing things like the Milk Calls and the whatever, super freaks of animation, the Glen Keanes. Like that shit isn't, I know we always say they're so good and it's so hard, but I don't think people realize the extent. Like imagine having to do a full movie to that quality, like just having a team of people that you could even get it to this place. And so like being able to even do a theatrical release to this level, like you were saying, you're like, it's not bad, it's still Disney. And it's like the fact that this is still Disney and looks like as kind of sketchy as it does in spots, it's like even Disney can't get enough like
Yeah.
top tier people to make this like kind of pass, which is why I think Moana deserves all the praise in the animation respect that it gets, because it looks passable. Like it looks like the feature, which is insane on a television budget and is insane for all those things. Where this one, it's like, yeah, this is a television budget. But even though it's like, Disney tries to get these like cream of the crop people all the time, even on their shows now for Tangled and this and that, like they're always like pushing to still, even if it's like a lower budget or it's TV, they're still trying to like be the best of the best. And I think the fact that this is the best they could do for this, and I'm not saying it's not good or whatever, but it's just a testament to like how insanely hard it is to do good.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
to do good hand-drawn animation is such a craft that like we came into the industry a bit too late, where we didn't have to do it for TV or whatever, and it's just like the people that have had to do it and work in it, I'm sure could say more, but I mean we did it in school and it's just so much effort, and so it's so hard. It's so hard to do. So I think even this, as janky as it is this times, is a testament to just how difficult hand-drawn
Sure.
animation is and why we've steered away, because to get people that can actually do it, the numbers aren't high. It's not like you have a sea of people to hire that can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild.
And it was like quick. Like I think this is like 2 years after Aladdin 1, I think. This
I
is
think
like
it was 94.
94. So
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty fucking quick turnaround, I think. But yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
Or
and you're
96,
but you're not
maybe.
gonna have the Glen Keanes and
Yeah,
the Mark Hens.
exactly.
Like they're not on these shows.
They're on the other
So the
thi- yeah,
people you
they're on the movies.
They're on the movies.
Yeah.
So like nobody, the
94,
people
yeah.
doing this are doing their
They're
gosh
just-
darn best, probably
they're
on a
doing the
tighter
best.
schedule for way less pay. So like
Oh yeah.
for sure. So respect to that and respect to the craft.
Yeah.
But it does look janky at times.
It's
Yeah.
an art.
It is.
But
It's
I-
an
Yeah,
art.
go ahead, Brad.
I think that's kind of like in any industry, though. You're going to always have your elite people. Like, I think Laura will get this, that when you look at F1,
Yeah,
There are
agreed.
so few really good F1 drivers. Sure, you got F2, and everybody's like, those guys can do what they do, but then they come up to F1 and they can't do shit.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Disney. You got your F1 drivers like Glenn Keane, and then you got your F2 drivers
You've
that
got
are
your
like, I
Nick
can do
DeVries.
that. And they get up to the big
know what I
game,
mean?
like
I hate that Brad
Aladdin,
brought this
Iagos.
And then you got the people whose dads bought their way in.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you got your nepotism where it's like, oh, Billy can do that. And it's like, no, he can't
Billy
do
can
that.
direct a Disney animated feature.
Yeah.
No, he can't, Lawrence Stroll. Go away.
Oh my gosh.
You can't take those turns
No,
and
I get it.
get the draft angles. And
Thank you for those insights, Brad. I really appreciate them.
Do you have something?
Did you know?
I have a few more how you do's to go on top
Oh,
of the
sure.
animation
Yeah, go
angle.
for it. Yeah.
Just to go on, just to bleed into the animation angle here, you brought up the Walt Disney Television Animation Australia,
Yes.
which is interesting. The fun fact about this was that they animated the first 34 minutes of the film. After the 34-minute mark, it switches to the animation team from Japan.
interesting.
And then they got some smaller support studios for the rest of the runtime as well. But like, yeah, 34 minutes is when it switches. And then there was another animation angle, but you know, it's mostly about the carpet. And we've kind of talked about how the carpet's kind of like underutilized in this film, like greatly, right?
Yeah.
The magic carpet in the first movie had a very detailed design, but in the sequel, it doesn't include as much detail, most likely because animating the carpet would take a long time to accomplish. So his design and all the future Aladdin stuff, including the show, is like completely like dumbed down for that reason.
Did the movie, maybe
It was
if
3D.
anyone remember, yeah, I was going to say it was a 3D rendering and they would like trace over. So I guess there was no 3D budget for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did mean to look into that because I remember watching the movie now and being like, oh, the carpet looks like very lacking in detail.
Yeah.
But then I forgot to look into it. But yeah, that would make sense that, yeah, they don't have time to animate it twice, once in 3D and then draw it over in 2D. Like,
I feel like the carpet in the first movie was like the, hey, we're Disney,
Oh,
look at
yeah.
my dick, right?
It was the IKEA
And the
knockoff
lion.
of the real Persian rug. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly, that too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all of those how we do's and did you knows and angles, crew. Shall we get into some reviews?
5-star, 1-star, you mean?
Well, let's start off by sharing some ratings from our friends over at Rotten Tomatoes. Anyone want to guess the rating? Return of Jafar.
40.
I was going to say 4.7
Out of
48.
100 or
out of 100.
Rotten Tomatoes.
okay, yeah, 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb 5.8 out of 10.
Too high.
So, not great for Jafar. But let's get into some 5-star, 1-star. Here's a note from Spencer Parsons, who gave this 5 stars 5 years ago. Spencer says, Andrew P. said it best. I don't know who Andrew P. is. When he said, you don't even need to watch this movie to know how incredible it is. So I won't try to say more. But if I were to say more, I would say that you really don't need to watch it. It's that good. No other movie has been as life-changing as this one has been for me personally in my life. I highly recommend that you don't watch it, but that you live it as I have. Send post.
Troll! Troll!
Yeah, troll.
Troll. And here's a 5-star from Sam Wilson. Spoiler warnings ahead. First of all, their choice to cross over to the backyardigans was undeniably the best decision of this movie. Making Pablo the main villain was a choice I don't think anyone could have seen coming. However, he gets enough screen time to make the perfect villain ever. He's evil yet understandable. He thinks that he's above humanity and has the right to define justice. There's this great musical number where he talks about how he is justice and that he is the law. That's why he makes such a perfect villain. He thinks what he is doing is right, cannot be reasoned with. The fact that they resurrected Robin Williams to reprise his role as Genie just proves that they wanted to make this movie as good as possible. Even though it was called A Return of Jafar, the fact that they decided to kill him off in the first scene is so brilliant because no one could have seen that coming and fooled everyone. Make this on your watch list.
Wow, another troll review.
Yeah.
And we're not done. We're not done. Here's a 1-star from Donna Leach. This is bad. What is a Aladdin movie that don't have Robin Williams? I hate this movie. Sad face. This movie would be booter if they had Robin Williams in it and it looked so bad. Like what? And oof to Jafar. 2 people found this helpful. Finally, from Mark Callender, 1-star. Don't waste your time. There's no spark. I'd call this D-grade. Without Robin Williams, it's a flop. All in caps. They should not have made it. And those are our reviews.
Was there any real 5-star reviews that wasn't a troll? I'm just
But
curious.
they were kind of boring.
They were boring? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if people like actually loved this movie.
Here's a brief excerpt from one. After Aladdin, this movie was a massive disappointment, just like me to my parents. This movie, it just felt soulless, like a money grab. And I know what you're thinking. This is Disney we were talking about. They would never make any greedy movies and always have the viewer's best interest in mind. This movie really lacks in the fight scenes, while the others were action-packed. This one is not. I personally hated when Obi-Wan Kenobi defeated Master Chief.
Oh my God, another troll.
Sorry, everyone.
This movie is bringing out all the trolls.
I guess so.
Wow. Okay.
I guess so.
Okay. I was just curious. If there was any real reviews for this movie.
Yeah, apparently
but
not.
This movie's not important enough for that. So.
But why don't we share our own reviews via Hot Take?
Hot take.
Hot take.
Hot takes, hot takes. Brought to you by the lava.
The lava.
The lava that melts the lamp.
Yeah.
Jafar's beard.
Thank you, lava. And also,
It's so twisted.
Jafar's beard. It is so twisted. Sam, do you have any hot takes this week?
Only one.
Please.
And that it's all sequels should be directed DVD only.
This is starting to sound familiar, Sam.
This is Sam's hot take every week now.
Well, thank you for that insight, Sam. I don't think anyone saw it coming, and I can't wait to hear your hot takes next week.
Thanks, Laura.
Brad, what do you got?
So when Aladdin goes with the Sultan, it's to like make up with the Sultan because it's like the genie and Abu are gonna go with them, but it's like no, you need one-on-one time with the Sultan. You got to make it up to him. This just needs to be like a little bro time. But then they take he takes Iago along with him. When like the whole reason Aladdin has to like make up to the Sultan is because of Iago. And I'm like, why are you taking the problem along with you on this trip when that is the issue here?
Classic.
And I just didn't understand it.
Classic fear of being alone with the father-in-law. I get it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Gotta bring the pet. Gotta bring the pet.
Gotta have a buffer.
So
Nice. Tung, what about you?
I'll start off with Wii U. Oh my God, it didn't happen. We didn't have
Abby Small?
no.
Small. His
Guys,
name?
my hot take is why do they have to make Jafar Genie so hot? Why is he so hot? I don't get it.
It's the six-pack for me.
It's like, why does he have a six-pack?
But I think
he's jacked as fuck.
The lack of pupils cancels out his jackness.
No, but he gets
for
it
me.
back. He gets
He gets eyes back?
Yeah, he has pupils. Like sometimes he doesn't have pupils, and then at another point in the movie, like towards the end as well, they're just suddenly pupils.
Oh, okay.
But
Missed
like
it.
it's just strange to me because Jafar himself is not jacked at all. But Jafar Genie,
Yeah. Well, we don't know. We don't see underneath those ropes.
he's skinny though. He's a skinny dude. You know that.
He might have thin shoulders, but
And
that
It'd be
doesn't
like
mean
Cheaty on Good Place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
That
There
dude
we
was
go.
jacked as fuck.
Anyways, Jafar Genie, I think he fucks.
all right.
That's just pure power right
That's
there.
exact pure cosmic power.
Phenomenal cosmic power. Yeah. We live in space. My hot take is Jasmine is too many colors. They needed to pick a color for her skin, and they seemingly did not. So she is kind of all over the place to the point where it seems like her race is changing throughout the movie. And it's just not a great look, Disney. It's not a great look.
It's the song where the Iago song, I think, where she's
And
like
their
looking
duet.
after like the balcony.
Yeah.
She's very, very, very dark skinned.
Yes.
At one point.
And then there's some like changes in the moonlight and stuff, but I'm like, okay, but like this was full light. That's not, Sam or Brad, got anything else for us?
I was just looking at Robin Williams's IMDb here, and 93 we got Miss Doubtfire. Of course, 92 was the original Aladdin. 93 Miss Doubtfire. 94 nothing really. 95 you got Jumanji, and then 96 you have Aladdin and the King of Thieves. I feel like he could have squeezed this movie in. I know
he
there was
could
that
have.
riff, and the movie would have been better for it. But like his 94 is lacking.
It was out of principle, though.
Yeah. Oh, which is fair. What was the Disney guy's name at the time? Can't remember.
Eisenberg?
I feel like
Kratzenberg?
yeah.
Go
I feel like in the I
Eisenberg.
saw a documentary where he was like really screwing over Robin Williams and just was just like, yeah, we won't do that. And then that's like all they did was advertise using Robin Williams or whatever when it was like
What a
the
liar.
only thing he didn't want to get happen. So I get it, but I'm just like, I don't know. There was like nothing in 94. Although Miss Doubtfire and Jumanji.
Oh, so
those were
good.
Pretty good.
I'm also amused with myself for combining Katzenberg and Eisner into Eisenberg, and that's a different person.
Yep.
That's a real person, though. Tongue,
Do you have a bunch?
just one other.
You can say yours.
Did anyone else pick up on the scene where I think they used the same shot of Aladdin looking shocked 4 times in a row when he's being held by the 2 guards? And I can't remember. They keep shifting back and forth between like maybe Jasmine talking and Aladdin being held by the guards. And every time he's making like a surprise face. 4 times. 4 times they
great.
use the same shot. It's incredible. I'm going to go back and watch it
Is
just
that
for
when
that.
like he's about to be executed?
I think
kind of thing?
so, yeah.
Yeah, and there's
It's brilliant.
the guy with
I
the
bet you that probably like padded the length to like
Yeah,
theatrical length.
there it is.
Because I know that the We Lost Our Human thing that I did, it came out just over an hour 10, and the creators were so excited because they were like, technically we can say it's like a movie now because it's over the length.
Nice.
So,
I have just a bunch of random thoughts. Not sure if they're hot takes, although a few of them are.
And Brad, do you have any more?
no.
Take it
that
away,
was all I
Tom.
had.
Okay, seeing Genie stuffing apples in his mouth, it bothered me, and I don't know why. Do you know when he was just like eating a bunch of food with Abu? I've never really seen. You don't really see Genie just consume food before. Like, anyways, I just felt that was weird.
Seems like it's not one of his traits.
It's just not one of his
Yeah.
traits. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's
It's
like
not one of
gluttony
his
too. And if
Yeah.
he were to eat food, it wouldn't be like a normal person. It'd be like he would transform into a giant head and just like
That's just not who he is.
yeah, I know. It just felt
Yeah.
really off. I think Jafar really gets off on transforming into Jasmine because he does it a few
Yeah,
times.
I believe that.
Like I think he does that
Yeah.
in his alone time.
That's a deep dive in a movie they could have done right there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think the current Sultan is a very good one. I think that it doesn't do a good job. He seems
that's-
to never know
yeah.
what's going on
No, that's fine.
ever.
Yeah.
Which you see more of in the TV show.
I think hot take. Here's a hot take. Some of these songs I do think are better than some of the Lion King
Yeah?
sequel songs. Not that I can sing any of them right now, but okay.
Upendi?
In you, Pendy,
Yeah, no,
where the passion fruit goes sweet.
It's Timon's song in Lion King 1.5, which I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Forget about
Can't
it.
remember that one.
Okay, well, I'm not talking one.
Dig a ton up
Dig a ton up, dig a ton up,
Dig a Tunnel's a great song.
before the hyena come.
Speaking of songs, I don't remember the rest of the context of this, but in Jafar's song, what is it called? Second rate?
You're only
You're
second
only
rate.
You're only
Second
second rate. At one point, there's a line. This is the first note that I wrote. There's a line that says, "Granny's gonna grab ya,"
Granny's gonna grab ya!
and Jafar's transformed as a granny. Do you remember this?
No.
I remember the visual.
Do you know the visual? Okay, yeah. He's just a grandmother. You gotta look it up. It's in the song. He's just a grandmother, and I don't know why, but the line is "Granny's gonna grab ya." Okay,
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I was kind of zoning out towards this end of this movie.
totally. I get it. I think using the Simpsons voice cast in the direct to like Disney VHS. There's just like I don't know. They did it in Lion King
True.
1.5. They did it here.
yeah.
I'm just like, there's no hot take. It's just that I like that they did that.
Yeah, they should have continued doing that.
Great. The Simpsons voice actor. I feel like that's the time when they were like super hot, and like Disney's like, get those guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 94
Yeah.
era? Like, holy shit, that's like peak Simpsons.
Exactly.
Right
They
there.
were firing on all cylinders there. Let's see. A few more. You know how Genie dies in this one? No, Jafar died. Jafar Genie dies. They
Yeah.
try to make it like very dramatic, but I don't think it doesn't really land because it looks kind of bad, I think.
Yeah.
But
You see like the skeleton, he's like,
yeah, totally.
fireworks.
So it made me think of like a scenario, like if they had the budget, like think of like the Beast transforming scene in Beauty and the Beast, but do it for like a death scene for Jafar. Like how
Yeah,
cool would
yeah.
that be? Like just
That
like
would've been
dramatic, just like his like cuffs are like coming off and like he's like slowly becoming melting. I'm
genie
like,
style.
would have been super cool.
That sounds like it would have been a third of the budget of this movie.
Okay, and then there is actually a how you do that I forgot to throw in here, but I was saving it for hot takes. It's just that the genie lost his cuffs at the end of Aladdin 1. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's genie, you're free. The cuffs come off.
Yes.
But the cuffs are on in this entire
Yes.
movie.
It's just good design.
And-
he
and-
just likes bracelets.
He does look better with them.
And
That's
He
the
looks
thing.
better with
That
cuffs.
is the actual fact is that he wears them in both sequels because he looks better with them on. And that's
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that, but it fucks with the lore, you know?
It's like when you look at a red carpet.
He doesn't have. They're not stuck on him anymore. He's choosing to wear them now.
Yeah, he's choosing for fashion.
Okay. Just imagine this. Just imagine this for a second. Okay? Imagine if you had like a ball and chain around your fucking ankles for
Not the
like
same.
the
Not the same.
entirety of your entire life, and that caused trauma. You know, it's just
Not the
with
same.
you. And then one day, someone unlocks it for you. Great, it's gone. You're free. And then all of a sudden, your accessory in life is that ball and chain again. Get the
No,
fuck
because a
out of
ball
here.
and chain is incredibly inconvenient, but those bracelets,
They're just
or
like hot
wristbands
bangles.
are cute.
But they should be associated with some sort of
we
trauma.
we don't get to decide how people process their
I
trauma.
feel like
Tom.
a better analogy would be like an ankle monitor. Like, you gotta wear that forever.
Those
But
aren't
it's like,
fashionable either.
Let me just
What if I
say,
had magical earrings that fucked with me for life? But then I was like, oh, these earrings are so hot.
Yes.
Though.
let me just say, if you ever are looking at someone on a red carpet and you're like, it's a great outfit, but something's missing, 9 times out of 10, it's a bracelet. And all they're doing is acknowledging
I'm
that.
not saying so. Maybe the hot take is that he should have wore like a friendship bracelet, just a different type of bracelet, not the same gold "you're a
yeah,
slave"
just
bracelet.
change the colors.
A bunch of
please.
like Swifty bracelets that
Yeah.
Jen
But gold and
wear when
blue
he
go
flies.
together so
yeah.
well.
Like the
They
design
do.
is amazing. I'm not questioning that. I just question why Genie put them back on.
They needed a
Understandable.
scene where like Aladdin brings it up and he's like, "Oh no, I got these in like Cairo or something. Aren't they sick?"
Yeah, a throwaway line.
Anyways, that is my final hot take.
Well, it was a hot one tonight, wasn't it? And hopefully it'll be a hot one next episode as well, because we are staying in Agrabah, where we don't know exactly where it's located, but somewhere warm. It's safe to assume, based
think
on
I
Jasmine's
remember.
outfits.
Do you remember this movie, the next one, King of Thieves?
Well, I remember the surprise.
I don't remember shit. I feel like I've seen this movie like once.
Okay. Great.
Interesting.
Great. It's been a long time in my
Save it.
memory.
No
I'm
spoilers.
scared, Brad, because I think you and I probably saw this the most. I'm scared because in my memory, this movie was awesome.
Yeah. We'll find out. We'll find
Yes,
out
this
soon
cast has ruined a lot of my childhood
I'm
memories
scared
in
this
general.
is the Swan Princess situation.
Which is
so-
really what we set out to do when we started this during the early pandemic, didn't we? We wanted to ruin childhood
Listen,
memories.
listeners, we're ruining our childhoods
Yeah.
for you.
for you. And guess
No.
what? I will say though, I'm gonna call it now. I bet you the Goofy movie does hold up though.
Oh,
Oh,
God. What if it doesn't? It's a risky
There's
game
no
we're
way.
playing.
There's no way.
No,
Lean
it
Tower
has to
of
hold up.
10 out of
It
10
must
movie.
hold up. It must hold up. It
Hey,
must.
We'll have to wait to find out, and so will our listeners. But we hope that you'll tune back in to check out Aladdin, King of Thieves, or just King of Thieves. We'll find out the official title
Or
on our next
Iago and the King of
episode.
Thieves.
And maybe one more home video release after that. It's a Goofy movie. Spoilers. But until then, just remember, you don't need love. How do the lyrics go? Forget about love. Forget about...
Forget about it.
I could sing you the Beauty and the
Forget
Beast
about
one.
love.
Don't fall in love.
And also... Da, 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 da.